Okay, so we are going to begin our crayon skill builders here. So here is all of the techniques that I want us to learn. Now crayons, sometimes I feel crayons get a bad rap because we think of crayons as being very elementary. But crayons can provide us with some really interesting effects, some beautiful colors and techniques. So I actually really enjoy the look of crayons and I like using them. Alrighty, so what I want us to do here, this first section is we are going to change our pressure. So we're gonna press hard and press light. So choose any color, pretty easy, just go ahead. Light pressure, so if you need to show something that has light and shadow, the lighter part you could press light, the darker part you could press a little harder, and you get a heavier color. So crayons can be extended more than just like one color only. Your pressure can actually change the appearance of the color itself. So one crayon can go a long way. Next, we're going to do layer similar colors. So in your crayon box, find similar colors. Think of the color wheel, think of like neighbors on the color wheel. So I think I'm going to go in the warm direction. So I'm going to choose some warm colors here. So I'm thinking the warm color family, layer similar colors. Maybe I don't need all of these. Maybe I'll just do these 4 here. Okay, so what I want you to do is I really just want you to notice how when you layer similar colors, how it's really going to create a more vibrant effect. So here's my red, and it's fine, it's red. But let's say I'm making a sunset or something where I just need it to look a little more exciting. So now I'm going to layer red orange into this. Maybe I'll change directions here. Okay, so already it's looking more rich and more saturated. But let's say I want to warm it up even more. So now I'm layering just orange into this. And if I really, really want it super warm, I can add on more layers and more layers. I'm going to add a yellow into here. Now yellow is such a light color, it obviously takes, it's not going to change it immediately, but by adding this yellow on top, I'm actually getting a more warmer sense of what this color is, because yellow is a pretty warm color. And this I find quite beautiful. Now this feels very rich to me, not as dull. So always think about layering to really just enhance whatever it is you are coloring in. All right, now underneath this is just layers. So they don't have to be similar colors. So you can play around with what does it look like if I layer a blue or like a turquoise, let's say with a violet. What does that look like? Quite beautiful. I'm getting a nice like blue, violet, indigo type of color. And that's quite pretty. What does it look like if I layer a red orange with a pink? So my advice here is to follow what colors naturally intrigue you. And what does it look like if you put them together? Does it look cool or not? Sometimes it doesn't look cool. And I'd let yourself explore. Do at least 3 here, at least 3. Can you do more? Of course. So if I put a blue with an orange, what happens then? I'm noticing the orange is dulling out the blue. It's creating almost a gray, browny kind of color. So that could be good if I need it for a certain project. Now the reason I like layering colors, like this right here, I did brown and then I did indigo colored crayon. And this, to me, would create like a nice beautiful shadow, like on a street or something. So I'm kind of like logging this in my brain as I work, what colors I like that I could maybe incorporate into a future image somehow. Okay, now over here, this one's super fun, texture rubbing. So we have texture plates in the art room. Texture is the way something feels. The fancy word for this is frottage. So I want you to do some texture rubbings. I don't care what color. And so I just take my crayon and I rub over the paper, and that texture is appearing from underneath, which is fun. Now I want you to do 3 examples here of texture rubbings. So the first one, fine, 1 color only, but now move into what does it look like if I layer colors when I do a texture rubbing. Is that going to look cool? Maybe play with layering 2 times into 3 times. What does that look like? Look how vibrant that is. It's quite beautiful. I encourage you also to change out your texture plates. We have a variety in the art room, so play around with different kinds. Again, maybe focus on the ones you like that you might want to use in a future artwork just so you can see what it looks like. Maybe play around with doing one texture, bringing in a second one. What is that going to look like? So I really want you to explore a variety of techniques with these texture rubbings. So that way you can get some really cool effects here. I think this is super, super fun. So a variety of texture rubbings. Okay, I'm just going to move down here below. So this actually ties in a little bit with this first one, a value scale. So a value scale means I'm going to go dark to light with a crayon. Now, I don't care what side you go on, but so that's going to tie in with this. Like I said, you're going to start pressing a little heavier. You're going to have a heavy pressure, and as you go across your little box, you're going to ease up that pressure. But the goal here is for us really not to be able to see where you change. It should gradually just lighten, soft transition. So here at the end, I'm barely touching the paper. Now, to make it even darker, using the same color, instead of pressing so hard that you're going to break your pencil or your crayon, is you can just build up the layer, go a different direction. So the first time around, I was going up and down. Now this time around, I could go side to side and make that even heavier, again, and more vibrant, and just ease up as I go across. I could even move at a diagonal if I want it even heavier. All right, and I'll move down here. So Scumble. Scumble's always been one of my favorites. Scumble is you move in a circle, circular motion. When I scumble, I like to incorporate multiple colors. There's a lot of energy to a scumble, and it's fun just for like to give something a little more flair. Scumble is super fun. Okay, and then feather and hatch. So it's just two words for the same technique. You make marks going in the same direction. And again, you can incorporate multiple colors. Some can be shorter, some can be longer. That's feather and hatching. Okay, and this last one here, so you can do patterns or textures, and then we'll color on top. So think of just different, like I said, patterns or textures. So I have a big rectangle here to fill in, so I'll play with a few different things. So you can make a pattern such as this, and I pressed hard with this crayon here and then lightly over it with the same color or a new color. Just color over the top of it. Maybe you layer colors. And just explore a little variety here. So now I'll make some brick. Change my pressure. I'll color some in a little harder, some a little lighter. And I'll layer a color on top of that. Maybe some red over the whole thing. Maybe even some brown. And then if I lose my little separation marks, I can bring them back a little bit with my crayon. Okay, so overall, these are some crayon techniques. Are there more? Of course there's more. But these are things that I want you to explore and think about how you can possibly use these in a future work of art.